Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 167 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Hooray! We're back once again with a very, count 'em, three very special guest, Mr. Clintus Games.
Hello, good evening.
This in the business is what you call a big get. It's a big get.
Huge get.
This man is a massive YouTube gamer, vlog man. He's got a wonderful family, puts all kinds of stuff out. And I'm going to start this stream off before we introduce everybody else, because you don't care about anybody else. You're here because Clintus is here. Be honest. That's literally the only reason you clicked on this VOD right now, because you were like, Clintus Games? On PD? I'll watch an hour or so of this. Clintus, I don't know if you remember this, but like maybe 2.5 years ago, you and I had a very quick conversation on Twitter where you gave me a bunch of streaming advice for YouTube and Twitch.
I do remember back and forth about streaming. It was at the time I was on YouTube Gaming, so I think that's what it was.
Right.
You were asking a lot of questions about YouTube Gaming and whatnot, how to stream on there.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of advice. I applied all of it, and I still apply it to this day. It was just a moment where I got to sit back and say, why is this famous person talking to me on a social media platform? Like, there goes something off the bucket list, and I just thought it was such a cool moment that somebody, who's out there and is successful with this would take their time, just to talk to somebody who was really kind of getting started in live streaming and stuff like that. And I always wanted to say, thank you for that, man.
I feel like I have a similar thing with Clintus. I feel like way back on the Husky Raid YouTube streaming, Clintus came into the channel and was hanging out on the Husky Raid YouTube channel, and I'm like, why is this guy here? Clintus is he speaks to the little people, I guess. He reaches out to us all. He inspires, right?
Honestly, for me, it's always an opportunity to teach or to educate or to I don't know. A lot of kids will say inspire, right? They use throw that word around. You're my inspiration. You inspire me. Right. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's what I love about Twitter and Instagram and Twitch and YouTube. It's like, I throw content out there. I throw an idea or a thought, and then there's a way for people to reciprocate that or to digest it, that sort of thing. So, especially with Twitter, I love Twitter. Twitter's my favorite social platform. I have 3 accounts just so that I can kind of split my stuff up with where everything's at, but. For the most part, I read Twitter, and when I see something that someone needs help or I have a little bit of knowledge that I can kind of throw out there, I try. You
did, and I always thought it was a really cool moment, and I took the advice you gave, I applied it, and surprise, surprise, big content creator and streamer knows what he's doing because it worked. It was great. I got to.
Now, be honest. Did you purposefully give TBL terrible advice to keep yourself on top and hold him down?
Absolutely not.
The collusion.
I would never do that.
It was.
I'm excited to be here to talk about Destiny. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's been quite the week in Destiny, hasn't it? We've had a lot of things going on. We've got a lot of things coming up in this week. We've got update 2.0 getting ready to drop. We've got a lot of stuff going on with that. And yes, Chad, I have noticed Moonvault does look different this week. She's got pinker hair.
You're gonna love that.
And a much more muscular frame.
I don't even know if that. I think Moon's stronger than me. I don't think.
Oh, you think she'll body you?
Yes.
When we got, at Guardian Con a couple weeks ago, when she came up for that hug, I was like, oh, look at little Moonvault. She comes up. I'm pretty sure she could have lifted me and put me through the roof. Had a
absolutely
strong grip. Very strong grip. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have your usual round table of hosts here. We have got Mr. Nimplays.
Hi.
Dan Finity himself.
Oh, hello.
And returning after, forever, Mega Magwitch.
Hey, that's me. I'm here again.
Where have you been for the past couple of weeks, sir?
Though the past couple of weeks I've been at twitch.tv/planet_destiny. Why did no one call me? But I don't know. It's been a busy, wild time, fatherhood and such. New father. I don't know what I'm doing. Tired all the time. I'm lost in life. And but I've been meaning to come back for a while so that I could officially announce that I'm I'm going to be leaving the Planet Destiny podcast, and this is my last episode. But
So that's
we'll
why
talk
that's why
about
we
that
never
later.
called you, so you could never make that announcement.
Yeah, you were
Just
trying to
keep you,
delay it.
just
I
keep
get
you
it.
in here.
I get it, but I'm here and I'm excited to talk Destiny.
Right. You had a recent 24-hour live stream that was the source of a lot of entertainment for me and a lot of other people out there. We got to meet a lovely woman named Gloria Hole. Go find that VOD, chat. Just go find it, watch it. Mwah. It was
all 24 hours.
All 24 hours.
Do it. Sit, watch it uninterrupted. It's the only way.
Oh
great.
my god.
It was good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Right on, but he's right. We do have a week full of goodness to talk about, but you know how we start these things off. Whenever we have a guest, we like to take some time to talk a bit about our guests and the things that they do, because this man has done a lot of things. So we'll start it off with a fairly simple question for you, Clintus. What is it that you do?
What is it I do? So I guess my official title is I'm a full-time content creator. So no, I've been doing YouTube for a little over a decade. My main channel started off just as a place to put like my videos. I have a degree in video production, so we worked on movies, music videos, that sort of thing. And YouTube was just a place for me to kind of throw that up there. And then instead of blogging, I do a video blog because I'd rather talk than type. And then found out we were having our second child, and I kind of gave an update on that, like, hey, we're pregnant, we're having a baby. And then it was like a couple weeks later, hey, it's a boy. And then a couple weeks later, it's like, we're gonna name him this, and he's alive, he's born, and he's alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
He's
He made
alive.
I'm like, he's born. And so then it just kind of started to evolve. YouTube started, the whole vlogging thing became a thing. And so more and more people started kind of doing the vlogs, and then daily vlogs became a thing. And I kind of gave myself a challenge to do that for 30 days. And after 30 days, like, I don't know what the saying is, so many weeks and something becomes a habit.
Mm-hmm.
After 30 days of vlogging, it became a habit. And I was like, all right, let's just keep going. Let's see how long I can go for this for. And I pretty much, with the small little hiccups of trying to change content strategy up a little bit, I've pretty much been daily vlogging now for almost 7 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I did, like, I think the exact number was something like 2,100 days straight, and then I took my first like break, and I was going to change the content up and try some new things on YouTube, and I didn't really love it. It didn't really make a big change on the channel, so I said screw it. Went back to just doing.
I
what
remember
I've
when
been doing.
you announced you were making the change, and I was like, I don't know if I'm prepared for this emotionally. I need every day to see like the video is
Well,
live.
that's what a lot of feedback was coming back, was like the hardcore audience was like, we just like checking in with you, even if it's like a short video, even if it's boring, like we just love checking in with what you're doing today. What did you do today, right? Like, and because they relate to it, especially a lot of kids that have various different homes lives, where they live vicariously through our family, right? My kids,
Right.
they relate to my kids. They look to them as friends. They look to me and my wife as like, parent figures. I've got numerous emails from both kids and parents, moms, that said, my son doesn't have a dad, or, my son's dad chose a different path, and he looks up to you, and he's always like talking about you and your kids. And so it really, really touched me years ago. And that's when I really was like, this is what I'm meant to do. And this is what and it wasn't, and like I said, I don't want to put myself on like a pedestal or anything. I just was just sharing my life. I was just sharing my thoughts and my ideas, doing what I always do. And I just involved my family. And that's kind of what became my business at some point, because about 4 years ago, I quit my job, and YouTube's been paying the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And then YouTube Gaming was announced coming up on, I think, close to 4 years now. And they started streaming and whatnot. So I was like, I've always streamed off and on for the last 10 years. I've used Ustream. I used Justin TV back before. Yep. I used Blog TV, YouNow, like you name it. I used them all. Meerkat, Periscope. Live stream has always been a part of it, but it was never a main focus because YouTube was always the focus. Did the YouTube Gaming thing for about 2 years and didn't really like kind of where it was at and the pace that it was growing. And of course, the Destiny community lives on Twitch when it comes to live streaming. And so I made the switch to Twitch about 17 months ago, got partnership, and been rocking Twitch ever since. And so now I balance between the two. I live stream twice a day, somewhere around 6 to 8 hours a day, like when my kids are in school and after the kids are kind of done their own thing. And then, a big chunk of my day is hanging out with the family. We still do the vlogs and that sort of thing. So I kind of balance YouTube and Twitch now full time.
Now, was it like, because I know, the internet can be such a weird place. And then some people like to keep a lot of their private stuff private, like their families and, their kids and stuff like that. Was that an easy decision for you to like bring your family into kind of like your world when it came to like YouTube and doing like the daily vlogs and stuff like that?
Right.
Well, I mean, realistically, my family, my son was born into it. Like literally, the night of his birth, minus the graphical stuff. Like that whole night's on YouTube. You go look it up right now, and it's before HD, right? There's black bars on the side. I was using a little
360p.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And so I mean, like my kids, it's just all they've ever known, right? They've never known not me having a camera and asking them questions. And if you've met me, you've known me, like what you see on camera is 100% what you get, in real life. Other than maybe a little more smile or a little more like pep in my voice, because it is someone that someone's consuming.
Of course.
But I mean, realistically, it's the same thing, and that's why I love live streaming even more, because it's just like that, and there's no filter, there's no editing. So yeah, I don't know. It's, the kids. That's all the kids have ever known, honestly.
Gotcha. That's cool, man.
Yeah, because that is
trying to imagine that. That's just that's crazy to imagine. Like,
well, and the part that gets you now is that now kids know what YouTubers are, right? They look up to YouTubers. They want to be YouTubers. That's actually a thing that when people ask, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I want to be a YouTuber.
Dude, so many kids.
Yeah. And when we were kids, like that wasn't a thing. And people ask me all the time, "What made you want to start YouTube?" It's like, son, you weren't even born yet when I started YouTube. Like, there was no ad revenue. There was no, making a living. You did it because you thought it was a cool thing.
It was a hobby.
Wanted to be creative, and that was the way you do it on the internet, was through YouTube. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man,
just a cool place for you to post your stuff, and hopefully some people would see it.
So here's the thing too, like the kids in the neighborhood, like no one really knew we had a YouTube channel. Like it wasn't like we were recording videos in our backyard, in our front yard. Like I had. Where we used to live, there were videos out in my front yard, like no big deal. Like never thought about it. Like I just record my son being goofy in the driveway, or he's riding his bike down the street. And it's like, I'm recording him, and there's all these houses and these addresses. Never even thought about it, right? Until like years later, when YouTube became a thing, and the channel started growing and started getting recognized in public, and you're like, whoa, this is a thing, right? Yeah. That's when I started getting a little more like, okay, no more shooting video out front. Like we're just gonna kind of like
no identifiable landmarks.
So I mean, things like that. But then when my kids started going to school, and like fast forward many years later, now YouTube's a thing, and all of a sudden people started finding our videos. In fact, one of my daughter's teachers found her first day of kindergarten video from she was in like second grade, and they found her first day of kindergarten video, and they showed it, and everyone's like, that's you. That's you. And the teacher's like, "That you're right. That's so and so's classroom." Like it was, it didn't even click for them. And then little by little, the kids started finding out, like, "Oh, your parents are YouTubers. That's so cool." And they started kind of getting more into it. And then we moved last year, and that was different because the kids kind of like knew we had a YouTube channel before, and they just kind of grew up with it, like no big deal. Now you move to a new school, everyone's like, they're YouTubers, like, oh, so they start getting recognized. Kids in our neighborhood, we'd be like walking down the street, and they're like, oh, that one, So little things like that, but I don't know. My kids are kind of into it. My daughter has her own channel. She makes her own videos once a week.
Really?
She's been doing her thing now for over almost 2 years, actually.
How are you going to feel the day she surpasses you in subscribers?
I hope she does, honestly. But she's in the same spot as me, where it's like she loves doing it. It's a passionate thing. She's not like reading up the trends and like what's the thumbnails. She just kind of does her thing, and so there's sometimes where she's kind of like, I'm not in the mood. I'm just gonna kind of do something kind of, I don't want to say half-assed because that sounds bad, but she's kind of like, I'm just gonna do this thing because I need to put a video up, and I'm like, if you don't feel it, don't put it up. I give her a little, but she edits it all. She does her own thumbnails, like.
That's cool.
Because at the time I had 3
That's
channels.
really cool.
Like, I can't do another channel. It's all on you if you want to do it. But at the same time, like it's 100% on her. So if she succeeds, then it's on her. If she fails, then it's on her. And prior to that, we talked about trolls, and I showed her some comments, and I was like, "You're gonna get comments like this," and of course I filter out the worst. Like she never sees
Right.
really bad
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Right.
there's like, "You're ugly. You have a piggy nose. Like, look at that mole on your chin." Like, just kids being kids, right?
My
Kids,
comment
yeah.
right now.
Your comments,
One's
yeah.
toward me.
Insert any YouTube comments. Yeah, it's all the same. It doesn't matter where you're at. But she's great. She's awesome. So it's a family thing. But I will tell you, my wife and my daughter never, or I'm sorry, my wife and my son never really embraced it as like
Mhm.
we did. They're still the four of us. They're the two that are kind of more like the shy ones. They're the ones that
Right.
aren't as excited to pick up the camera and show off. Hey, check out this.
It's
thing I just did."
interesting
Right.
that your son is more shy when it's his entire life
Yeah,
has been like
he takes after my
Yeah.
wife. He definitely is more of like a I'll let I'll let my sister step up and be the in front. And then
Yeah.
once he kind of gets comfortable, he can jump in. It's like, oh, okay, this is how you do it. Cool, I know what I'm doing now. He's a little more
Yeah.
involved there, but
Mhm.
he doesn't ever want to be the first one. Though there are opportunities where I'm like, dude, this is gonna be awesome. Just do this one thing like this, and I'm like, record, and he's like, okay, Dad, I got you. I used to have a shirt that I was like, just do it for the vlog, right? Just do it for the vlog.
Just do it for the vlog.
You won't hurt, Bryce. I promise. Just go, just do it.
That's really cool, man.
It is. It's so interesting to because you're absolutely right. When we all started YouTube, I mean, and, a lot of us have been on YouTube for a long time. When we started it, way back in the day, I think I started my channel back in 2007, I want to say. There was no ad revenue. There was no, getting YouTube famous or anything like that. It literally started as just a platform for you to put up content that you thought was cool about your life or
Mhm.
create or something creative from your life that you thought other people would like to see. It was just literally putting up your hobby. And it's really interesting to see how all of that has changed and evolved over the past decade or so. And I think it's so crazy, so cool that you've been able to take this with vlogging and games and all that kind of stuff, kind of raise a family in and around it, and watch and see how this next generation, which has grown up with YouTube and YouTube stars and all that kind of craziness, and watch how they take it and move it forward. That's so interesting because I can't even imagine what that must be like now. I've got a nephew and he spends a lot of time watching the YouTube, and like I look at that and say, wow, it's so weird. So they grow up and like YouTubers are some of their movie stars.
Yeah.
YouTubers
Yeah,
are some of the celebrities that they
basically.
look up to. That's
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's exactly what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
at this point in time, you ask, you ask kids at school, like, who do they watch, right? Or what shows do
Mhm.
you watch? I mean, you can say shows, but really, it's like,
Right.
who do you watch? And they'll
Yeah.
name off like 4 or 5 YouTubers, right? Some of them are shows, and some of them are just
Mhm.
individuals and whatnot. But yeah, this generation I mean, my kids don't watch TV at all.
Yeah.
Like my daughter will watch Netflix. She has a couple of shows that she likes to watch, and there's a couple of shows that she started watching either on Netflix or like one of the apps, and then started watching the new seasons when they came out. So she does have a couple of shows that she does like to watch, but I'm talking like 2, and everything else is on Netflix, and
Yep.
there is no TV, so to speak.
Yeah,
And that's the generation. It's the generation of on demand, right? VOD.
exactly.
Mhm.
And we see it in like little kids where parents, hey, here's an iPad or here's a phone, and it's a great babysitter, right? It's a great
Right,
tool.
it is.
And if done properly, there's great benefits there. Again, showing my age, my daughter, we used to have the DVDs of the little Einsteins, the baby Einstein videos, and she'd sit there and watch the colors and the shapes, and then some genius goes, "Wait a minute, I put that on YouTube? Oh my God, all the kids have access to that."
Yeah.
That started those channels, all those channels that appeal to the kids, and so
Yeah.
YouTube's definitely an interesting place that's evolved over time. That's for sure.
I was getting a tattoo yesterday, and I was talking to the tattoo artist who has a daughter who's like 8 or so years old, and like she wants to make YouTube videos just like every kid. And he's like, I just don't know if like he's worried because he's from the previous generation. He's worried that it's going to be like something that would be embarrassing later, putting up videos of herself. And I was just kind of like,
100%.
it will be embarrassing, but I don't think that she'll be alone in the school for being the kid that like uploaded videos. I feel like every kid her age will probably have some videos they tried to be a YouTuber with. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember like my beginnings. I'm not a hardcore like YouTuber or dedicated for that matter, but back in high school I used to help out a buddy of mine who wanted to have like like a comedy based channel,
Mhm.
and we did like things from like skits to like songs. My personal own YouTube channel, like back when I first got into the platform, was music related. So like, yeah, it's just crazy to see how much this platform and like all this, you know, shenanigans that we've done and like very early on has like evolved.
Mhm. I mean, me and the dudes from Husky Raid, we started making dance videos, like our Powder Puff dance videos in 2008 was the first time we uploaded one, like live action dance videos, and then it became eventually something we did in Destiny, and like
That's
it
great.
grew into like a real thing. It's just weird. Like YouTube has been a constant part of our lives for so long now. Like,
Right. Yeah, and I think Clintus has an absolute point there where he said that a lot of people don't watch TV nowadays. That is
Mhm.
absolutely true. Places like Twitch, YouTube, all these streaming sites, they've become the new age television for a lot of this next generation. I know
Yeah.
me personally, I don't watch a lot of TV. It's funny, I was actually thinking about this earlier today, so it's interesting that we're on this topic. I spent like 4 hours earlier today, just where I didn't have anything to do. I wasn't working or anything. So I spent about 4 hours watching a friend of mine on YouTube, Corey X Kinchin. He's he's kind of a spooky game streamer kind of person, I guess is what you would describe it as. And I spent 4 hours watching that. Didn't think about turning on a television. Had no desire to turn on a television. And that's what I do most of the time. I don't watch TV. I come in. I head to YouTube. I watch a couple of my favorite channels for a few hours, and that's it.
Yeah.
And sitting back and thinking about that, how wild is it to think that there are probably tens of millions of other people who just do that all day long?
yeah.
This
Mhm.
platform is absolutely massive. These platforms that we run on, because it's weird, because you don't really think of it like that when you're starting up a Twitch channel or something. You don't think that you're the next that you're going to be the television for some people who are just sitting back and watching
Mhm.
Twitch because they don't watch TV. But that's really what it is, and that's something you'll notice if you start streaming and you have like a one of the most important things. This is actually something Clint has told me. One of the most important things if you're going to stream is to have a set schedule. Do it at specific times, because
Mhm.
you'll get to a point where people will just show up even if you aren't live, because they know that you're usually live at that time. Like I go live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I'll go check chat before I press the live button. There'll be 5 people there waiting. It's crazy, and it's weird to think of it like that, because you don't. Maybe it's just me, but personally, when it comes to YouTube or Twitch, I never looked at it as being some people's television. I just thought it was a cool place where I could go and do weird stuff in video games, and maybe somebody would watch.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
Well, and it's an extension too. Like when people talk about, when people ask what you do or what I do, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do this, this, and this, and I live stream. And they're like, people watch you play video games?
Number of
And I'm like-
times.
And I'm like we're watching these guys play basketball right now,
Yep.
like that, right? It's like that.
Only you can talk to the basketball player
Except, yeah,
about what
exactly.
he's
Yeah,
doing.
exactly. You
Yeah.
can talk to LeBron James while he's actually shooting. He's like, yo, what
This
up?
just
How's
saying,
it going?"
Clintus says he is equal to LeBron James.
There we
Live
go.
on Playing Destiny.
It's gonna be on
Contract with the Lakers
Talk
ended.
tomorrow.
Signing
But
Clintus.
that's the point, right? That's the point. It's like
Yeah.
it's a different generation, right? So
Mhm.
for the last 100 years, we've been watching baseball and football and basketball and
Mhm.
soccer and these other sports, and it's like in this day and age now, like we grew up, playing video games, and our culture, you look behind everybody except for the ones that have colored walls. Look at all the cool things behind them, right? Like that's our childhood, right?
Yeah.
Where you got some kids that have pennants on their walls and posters and
Yeah.
the big what do they call it? The fat heads, right? The fat heads of
Yeah.
their favorite players and stuff. Like, there's a different generation that grew up with comic books and video games, and just like there's ones that grew up with music, and they've got the metalhead posters behind them, and that sort of thing. So it's just wherever your path took you, and video games have become a major source of entertainment, and then it's fostered that, right? Instead of
Right.
kids playing baseball in the field behind their house, they come inside and they watch their favorite baseball players on TV. Same thing now, you used to playing a video game, playing Mario or whatever on your couch, and now it's like now you can watch people play the games that you play with, and there's this relatability to it.
Mhm.
And I think some people get it, and they're like, when you explain it that way, they're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, I get it, right? Like,
Yeah.
my son loves playing Fortnite, so of course he's gonna want to watch someone else play Fortnite
Right.
and learn things and see cool things, and like, oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that, and and that's where this culture came from.
Yeah,
I-
that's
I love that about the older generation not getting it, because it's probably one of my favorite things that always happens at like family gatherings is when
every
somebody
time.
is complaining about their kids, like all they do is watch that YouTube. They just watch people play other games, and I'm just sitting there like, who would do that? Yeah, like I
Wow.
just don't bother engaging.
Such
Such a
weirdos.
bizarre
Yeah, that's such a weird thing. I don't do that too. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, just definitely one of those generational divides there. But
Mhm.
it's really interesting to see online platforms like this kind of take over, and the way that TV took over from radio.
Mhm.
Decades ago. Really crazy to see it happen, and I'm just kind of happy to be a part of it. Now, I've got a question for you, Mr. Clintus, because we touched a little bit on this. How did you get started with gaming? What was what really pulled you into gaming as a hobby?
Okay, so like just the I'll put the fast forward mode on. First platform, first console was an Atari. I don't know which one it was. It was
Probably 2600.
top loader joystick with one button. If that makes any, I don't know.
That's the
That's
2600.
the 2600.
Cool. So I had an Atari, and then I think I was like in third grade, got a Nintendo, had the Mario Duck Hunt combo, played a lot of NES. I think switched to Sega Genesis for the 16-bit at first, but eventually got a Super Nintendo. Went with the the 64, and GoldenEye was my first like love of first person, like my first taste of first person shooters.
Man.
Multiplayer, right? Had the four screens up. I would kick my brother's asses, and any friends they brought over, I'm like, yeah, bring them on, let's go, keep them coming. 1v2 me, 1v3 me, let's go, and then I went with the Dreamcast, and that obviously was a failure. The only game I remember playing in that at all was you were like stranded on some island, like it was like Half-Life. It was like a third person Half-Life, and there were like creatures and stuff, and you were like stranded on this I don't even know, but anyways, that's the only Dreamcast game I could think of. And then I want to say by then at that point I was kind of out of video games, but I was into PCs. I was into like technology, and I asked for, so my dad told me, he's like, all right, I was a senior in high school. He's like, I'll give you money for a car, or I'll give you money for a computer.
Ooh.
This decision may have changed my life forever and put me on the course that I'm on today, because I chose the PC. And we went to Fry's Electronics, and I picked up a compact desktop and got it all set up. And I signed up for my free Net Zero.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was the kid that like, free internet, And then it's like that thing that sits on the screen and burns through. I was trying to play StarCraft, and they're like, this thing's burning through my screen. I'm like, no. So I tried to sign up for everything I could, right? The freeinternet.com. It only lasted for 2 hours, and I got booted from my game. I'm like, no.
Yep.
I was the kid that had the phone wire that was running from my bedroom down the hallway into the kitchen. And my dad would wake up in the morning, would need to use a phone. He just unplugged my wire.
Yeah.
I lose my game. And so then I started PC gaming. I started college and found Counter-Strike. And Counter-Strike was like,
Yeah.
I think it was 1.6, if I'm not mistaken, was when I started. And and then after that, I moved away for college, and I started playing all kinds of PC games, right? Tribes 2, Medal of Honor, Team Fortress 2, Half-Life 2 came out, Source came out, so Counter-Strike Source, Day of Defeat Source. And then right as it was end of college, I started playing EVE Online, and that was my first taste of an MMORPG.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, I've never played WoW. I've never played WoW, but I've heard the stories, the horror stories of like losing family members and your job, and like like
It happens.
It happens, right? You've heard the horror stories. I felt like EVE was like that. My mom, to this day, my wife's like, she hears that word, she's like, I think our marriage is on the rocks there.
Eve is the other woman.
It's
in
the
your
other
life.
woman.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where she didn't understand why I couldn't just leave. I'm like, I'm in the middle of a strike or a mission. Like I can't leave. If I leave right now, my ship could blow up. Like I don't even know where I'm at. I'm between warp gates. Like she didn't understand. She's like, it's a game. I'm like, no, it's not. This is Clintus McGintis, and if I lose him right now, I lose everything. All the training I've been doing. Like she did not get it, right? And so she hated it. She's like, I hate you. Like don't start that Eve. Like we're gonna leave in 2 hours. Don't start a game of Eve. Like she started knowing. So anyways, after that, my PC took a dump, and I stopped gaming like completely. We started having kids, and I think at one point she's like, "You want to get an Xbox?" I've heard this. Xboxes are good, this and that, and I think it was a PlayStation 2, an Xbox, like the original Xbox, I think.
Right.
And of course, we're at the game store. I'm all excited. I'm like, yeah, Xbox, this and that. And I'm looking at all the games, and I'm like, she's not gonna play any of these games. So we ended up buying a GameCube and some Mario games. And so I thought, we'll play the games together. No, she doesn't like games. She played like one or two, and I had in a GameCube, and I didn't want to play any of the games. I think the only game I played religiously was Metroid Prime. I really like that. Again, first-person shooter. So I really dug that. But I just kind of, that's it. I didn't really play video games for a long time. And then one day I was like, I hit my friends on Facebook, and I was like, hey guys, I'm going to get a console. What should I get? What game should I get? And like unanimously, in fact, one of them was in the chat earlier, Rhino Rangers, old school friend of mine. He's like, dude, you gotta get a PlayStation 3 and you gotta get Modern Warfare 2. It's gonna be dope. Get online.
Man.
So I went and bought a PlayStation 3, got Modern Warfare 2, and that night I was online with headsets talking to 5 dudes playing. I was like, this is awesome. This is like being in college. This is like a LAN party, but we're at home and I don't have to smell your BO. Like, this is awesome, right? Like, and so we're like every night at home from work, I'd be up till 3 a.m. playing Modern Warfare 2. My wife would come in sometimes like, what are you doing? Like, I'm a kid again. This is like the best thing ever, right? Like, I loved it. And so, and then for the longest time, that's all I did is whatever new Call of Duty came out, I just got the new Call of Duty and the DLCs, and I just played multiplayer. And that was all I did. That was the only game I really played until YouTube started kind of popping up. And I started kind of like dabbling with like Minecraft and GTA 5, and that kind of sucked the life out of me there. But I played a little bit, but I just never call myself. I've never been a gamer, right? Like when I think of a gamer, I think of somebody who like has all these titles they can name off, and they've played this one, they heard this one, I've heard of this one. Did you play that one where you did this thing? No, that was number 4. Oh, 5. Oh, 5 was when you did this. Like like the Final.
So you're not Mega
Fantasies
Magwitch.
Right, like Mega. Yeah, exactly. I never played a plethora of games, and like I said, I played some back when I was younger. I couldn't remember the names though. There was one RPG that I played where you had this like feather sticking out of your head and a staff. I think it was on 64.
Quest.
Okay, that was on
Quest
64, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I was all excited. Everyone was talking about this game. It was like the first time I actually like knew a game was coming out, and I bought it. And I was all excited. I beat it in like 4 hours, and I was pissed. I was so I'm like, that's it. They hyped it up that I was gonna be like hours and hours of gameplay, and obviously little did I know that I beat the game, but I didn't like unlock all his abilities, and like you could have like maxed them out, and there's other things you could have done, and you're supposed to go back and like 100% it, right? And I didn't understand that concept. I'm like, I traded it back in, lost half my money. I was all done with that.
So
that's kind of my story. That's where I'm at, I guess. So you want how I got to today? Let's keep going. All right,
keep going.
Boom.
So
Keep
then
rolling.
PS3, Call of Duty, that was it for forever. And then someone at work was like, "Hey, have you heard this game called Destiny? It's really cool. I think you'll like it." And so I went on my lunch break. I went to GameStop and I pulled up a little like strategy guide, the big thick book, that tells you everything about the game and everything.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I sat there for like half an hour reading up on it. And I was like, "Oh, hey, I want this game." And the guy's like, "Okay, what platform?" And I was like, I need to upgrade. What should I get, an Xbox or PlayStation?" He's like, "Well, they have this all white PS4 that comes with the game." And I was like, "That one."
That'll
And
do.
that's really how I chose between PS4 and Xbox One, because I was on the fence. I was like, Xbox One, PlayStation, I don't know. And that's why that's ultimately how I went down that path, was the all white PS4. And so that started Destiny, and I didn't like it at first. Because I went straight. I tried to go to PvP, and I'm like, "Oh, what is this crap? I have to go to level 4 first. It means I have to play PvE. What bull crap is this?"
Yeah.
So I had to play the story to get to level 4, and then I jumped in the Crucible. I'm like, "Oh, here we go!" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, what is it? This is your grenade? Like it's like an orange bomb. What is this? Like I float? Like what is this floating crap?" Like, I was so like, "What is this? This isn't Call of Duty." And I talked to my friend at work. He's like, "Yeah, it's not Call of Duty, man. It's like this. It's guys from Halo." I'm like, "I didn't play Halo. I didn't have an Xbox. Like, what are you talking about? Who's Bungie? What? That doesn't mean anything to me." And so that was how I got into Destiny. And at first, like I said, I didn't like it. I started playing more. I kept playing Call of Duty, and I think at the time it was Advanced Warfare.
Advanced
I
Warfare,
dug it.
yep.
I liked it. But then I started like playing with some other friends, right? So like I'd see somebody on Facebook saying like, "Oh, I got Destiny. Anybody else play it?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I play it." And start playing together. And again, you start getting that camaraderie with the voice comms and stuff like that. And I started getting that feeling I used to get playing PvP, even though we were playing PvE.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until between Dark Below and House of Wolves when I really like hit the stride of like falling in love with the game. And yeah, so then that was awesome. Like Skolas and like like literally spending 8 to 10 hours trying to beat Skolas, getting like DC'd, and then somebody coming in and finishing it without you. Like that was like that's my fondest memory of D1 is spending all that time trying to beat Skolas and then someone snaking it from you. That's the best.
Yeah, that was great.
But Taken King, and then that's it. Just that I fell in love at that point, and Taken King was the most anticipated game for me ever because I was like, first time ever gotten that taste of things to come, and I've been playing it ever since.
Right on, man. What a roller coaster ride through history there. I just want to take a moment to address the fact that not only did this man understand and appreciate the glory that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, we also got a Quest reference on this show. Quest 64. I've met maybe 4 other people in the entirety of my life who know what Quest 64 is, and I'm so happy that number 4 was on this show. It's Clintus. Thank you, sir.
His official review is it sucks.
The official review was pretty bad.
I remember it being, like I said, like super awesome. Like I was so hyped, and I was making progress. But like I said, obviously I was before my time, and I crushed it in 5 hours. And like the reviews were out saying, oh, it's gonna take you 25 hours. And I was like, obviously I'm a prodigy, so like I just like
the greatest.
It. But
Clintus is the original person who, when an expansion comes out to Destiny, he's like, I've already done everything. Like, what now? What's
First
next?
week 1 done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great story. You've got so many hit markers throughout history, and you said you didn't really consider yourself a gamer. I would definitely consider you a gamer. You've got the history there. You've obviously got the love for gaming, and that's all it takes, brother. If you're somebody who enjoys games, you're a gamer through and through.
Yeah.
And
and that's the thing. I'm in a unique place right now, because like I said, like I stream pretty much every day now, twice a day. I've started to expand the games that I play and I stream. I still kind of narrow it to a genre of first person shooters, looter shooters. Like I've started kind of like I love obviously Destiny. I have played a little bit of Borderlands 2 though. I've never finished it. I do enjoy it. I feel like I missed the boat on that one. I'm waiting for the next one to come around.
I think you have plenty of time to play
yeah.
Borderlands until the next one comes out.
Probably.
For sure. But I love like the Division, and I'm really into a game called Escape from Tarkov. I don't know if anybody's played that.
Oh yeah,
I have
Ultra
seen
Land.
people streaming it, and I've thought about trying it, but it just looks so much. I'd be horrible at it. That's all it looks like. It just looks so.
You guys play Warframe? Maybe I play Warframe.
Yep.
Okay,
Occasionally.
so think of like Warframe's depth, right? Like you can go really deep into mods and like loadouts and like how you like gear up your Warframes and what you use and what you want to kind of flex to, that sort of thing.
Right.
Take that into not a futuristic world, but like a modern world, right? Like this thing is like a military simulator to the point where different bullets can be loaded into the mag, alternating. Like I want hollow point, steel tip, copper point. Like it's that intricate. And they keep with every patch, they keep going like more and more realistic to the point now where like you literally have to load every bullet. Before you just drop the bullets in the mag. Now you literally are like in battle, like it's
That's
real,
cool.
right? And the next iteration is good when you heal up. You actually like PUBG, like bandaging and like injecting. Like there's the time it takes. So it's very very realistic, but it's one of the most sweaty like experiences in a good way. Because like if you die, your body hits the floor and all the loot that was on your body is there on the floor for anyone to take. So it's a permadeath situation. And there's an economy to it where you are looting everything, like every physical piece of. There's a matchbook. Here's a lighter. Here's a bag of screws. Here's like everything is lootable because everything can be sold or traded. And so you make the money to then buy better guns, buy better armor, and it's all PvP. So you're playing against other players, and like you can get one tapped in the head. Like it's very realistic, but it's so like everything you do is like.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I would be on the edge of my seat the entire time.
You are. The adrenaline's running all the time.
Yeah.
So even when I lose, I'm like, oh my god, fight. Like, GG's to that guy, right? Like I'm not salty or pissed. And
yeah.
I mean, it glitches. It's still in beta, but it's it's an early access game, but it's really good. I really dig it.
Right now, I've been hooked on Dead Cells. That got its claws on me pretty bad. It's I don't know if you've ever guys seen any like gameplay regarding the game.
Looks good.
Yeah,
Oh,
so one of for those that don't know is it's a side scroller, kind of a Metroidvania type of gameplay.
Mhm.
The catch here is that this game was meant for speedrunners. You'll whatever progress you make in the game, if you find blueprints that you're able to return to the vendor and unlock those weapons and stuff like that, you'll be able to access that later. But wherever you die, you will lose all of the currency that you had on you, and you will start from the very beginning of the game. So let's say if you're a boss or two in, if you're a boss or two in and you die, you are going straight back to the beginning of the game to start that run all over again. And there's multiple like secret hidden doors that are time based and time gated. So if you take too long on a previous run, then you can't access that door anymore that possibly holds a blueprint that you don't have or a bunch of money for upgrades and such. But it's really neat the way they've kind of like made the game in the sense that like even though you die, you are still progressing somehow. And that right now, that's
like
Very
that has
roguelike
me
game, yeah.
that has me hooked lately.
roguelikes are like my favorite genre of games, so I'm with you, Nem. I haven't had enough time to dedicate to it, but I definitely enjoy Dead Cells.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I've been seeing it everywhere for the past week or so, especially with you, Nim. You've been recommending it to literally everybody you've been talking
Yeah.
Just taking any excuse to bring it up.
to.
Should we actually talk about the game that this podcast is named for now? I'm just curious. We're 45 minutes in. Just curious.
Do we have to? Is that a requirement?
There's things to talk about, though.
Yeah,
There's actually things to talk
There's
about.
a lot of news.
so-
Oh, by all means, take it away then, buddy.
That's on you,
Mega?
Dan.
I thought he was saying buddy to
Segue,
you.
come on,
I've
Mega,
done-
let's go.
Listen. I have done like
It's
80
your last
episodes of
episode.
this podcast. I've never been the guy who does the intro. That's not my job. Get out of here with that.
Right.
Well,
Won't
we
be taking
gotta-
any extra work.
We got a big week coming up on Destiny 2. Coming up on Tuesday. Tomorrow, if you come to think about it, tomorrow is the last day that Destiny 2 will be in its current state because we're getting a pretty substantial update. On Tuesday, a week before the release of Forsaken, we are getting the updated weapon slots. We're getting, I believe, we're going to start seeing some of the escapees from the Prison of Elders out in the world.
Mhm.
Right,
So-
right. That's cool.
For those of you that have stuck around with us, you will remember that we have brought this up on multiple occasions,
have.
many episodes ago, of pre-DLC events happening in the world. Coming up on September 1st, we have a demo of Gambit. How exciting is that? Who is going to be playing Gambit all day on Saturday?
Here.
All day long. Not even a question. Clintus, you look kind of sad there, buddy.
Yeah, so I got really excited about this until someone goes, "Yeah, that's Labor Day weekend," and I'm like, "Oh, I have family plans that weekend.
Oh no!
I'm going to be up in the woods with no reception, so
Oh, buddy.
I can't even like bring like my PlayStation, be like, oh, or a laptop, like, oh, I'll figure it out, I'll play a little bit, no problem." Like,
I'll hook it up to this tree.
Man.
That'll work.
oh
You
yeah,
know
I gotta
what?
go into town for a couple things, guys. We'll be back in like 6 hours.
Out of solidarity, Clintus, I will lie and tell you that I didn't play it either. All right.
That's a real
Appreciate
noble sacrifice there, Mega.
Uh-huh.
Thank
Yeah,
you, man.
yeah.
I'm glad we
I'll
have
delete
somebody
the
like
bot
you.
if I do. It's fine. Yeah.
Delete the bot.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a huge week. Just picking on a couple of things there. I love that we're getting pre-DLC events in the world space again. Nem's absolutely right when he says that it's something we've brought up several times in the past. I have very fond memories of way back in the day before the Dark Below, when the Blades of Crota would invade public event spaces on in the Cosmodrome and on the Moon. And great memories of the wolves prowling before the House of Wolves, and then dropping the treasure keys and then doing the runs and stuff for that. It was so
You had to
cool.
run for the chest. Yeah.
You had to
And
run.
then run out And then come back in and use the key again.
It just keeps
Cheers.
cycling the world space to continue opening that chest over and over again because the Destiny community can't do anything without finding a cheese for it.
This is true.
That's why I
But you know
love
what?
it, baby.
That's why I love pre-DLC events like that, because, for example, like when that event came up, it's like patrols used to be super dead. You know, even early on in Destiny's life cycle, like once you got to, like, you know, be able to run Vault of Glass and you got your armor, there was no reason for you to do a patrol. And then when they added that public event going on, it's like just seeing all the Guardians just fumbling around the Cosmodrome looking for the chest in the Moth Yards, which was like the hardest one to find.
Yep.
To go and get in, and like you would have the Guardians just like shooting or throwing a grenade where
Trying
the
to
chest is
attract
located.
everybody over.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's exciting. I miss having stuff like that makes the world feel alive, that, you know, events are happening and, you know, we're moving forward. So I'm super stoked to see that coming back this week.
Yeah, absolutely the same for me. And of course, very excited about getting a chance to test out Gambit on Saturday. I don't have family coming over, so I get the whole day to be a hermit
salt
and just play Gambit, which is going to be cool because, you know, we're going to have the new weapon slot system in place. We're going to have a bunch of different things going on. And it's really cool that I did want to make a point to say this free Gambit trial is available to everybody who owns Destiny 2 right now. You don't have to own Forsaken in order to participate in the Gambit trial. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun thing to dive on into later on this week. What else did we learn this week going on in the world of Destiny? I think we got the Raid release date, didn't we?
Yep.
Yes, we have the Raid release date, which is going to be dropping on September 14th, I believe.
Right on. You got a little over a week, I do believe, between the drop of Forsaken and the opening of the Last Wish raid. We also got a name confirmation for it.
Ooh.
Ties in with some things you might have learned about a couple of, in some previous weeks if you've been paying attention to leaks and whatnot. We'll not talk about such things on this show.
Don't worry, we're not going to spoil anything.
No such spoilers.
I think we should. I think we should just spoil it all right now, guys. I heard this one's going to have a Sparrow racing segment. Every raid ever. I love it.
That's actually how you defeat Aldrin. You beat him in a race, and he just...
You race him for pink slips, and he says it don't matter if
That's
you
right.
win by an inch or a mile.
Or a mile. That's right.
You just drive by me, you kick him off the bridge, and just nosedives.
You never had me. You never had your Sparrow. That's what he says when you.
That's the way it goes. But we're also getting. What else did we learn about Update 2.0? Is this when the mod changes are coming into effect?
So the mod changes will start coming into play with this, but I don't think we're getting the actual mods just.
Right.
Yeah.
We're getting the slots and stuff like that. Also, as a heads up for those hoarders like myself, if your postmaster is full, now's the time to get cleaning with that, because when the weapon slot changes and stuff like that, whatever you have in the postmaster is going to get pretty much kind of like moved and removed.
Right.
Good. That's free cleaning then. Why would I clean it? That's garbage I keep in there.
If you have something in the postmaster that you know that you want to get out of there, but you haven't already, because things will be moving around, some of that stuff is going to automatically get sent to your postmaster. So it's going to like rotate everything that, you know, that's out of there. So get to cleaning if you haven't done so yet.
Also, too, isn't that when the elements are going to lock in?
Yes. So for those that were looking forward to some tractor cannon and Aikilos cheese, unfortunately, let's nip that in the bud right now. Aikilos sniper rifle and the shotgun are going to be locked to solar burn. So that's a thing. We got some weapons that are going to be moving to the kinetic power slot, or the kinetic weapon slot, which is going to be the Alone as a God, Balligant, Frigid Jackal, Hawthorne's shotgun, Perfect Paradox, which I was kind of hoping they kind of forgot about that one.
They did not.
When they announced that they were going to lock the Aikilos with solar, I'm like, ooh, but I still got my Paradox. Don't touch it. No. Sure enough, that's going over to the kinetic slot with Silicon Aroma as well, and the Shepherd's Watch.
So the one that they did forget though, and obviously it's a little more rare because you have to do the raid lair, but the Zenith of our
Of your
Of our kind, yeah.
Our kind.
Zenith of
Yeah.
your kind.
That's in that same archetype.
It
I think it
is.
has Rampage. It's right there.
Yeah.
Auto, yep.
Yeah.
So
So,
get one of those.
Sadly enough, I think I got that one once, and I was like, I don't need this shotgun. I got a perfect paradox, and immediately dismantled it.
Oof.
That's the best stuff in Destiny. All the million stories of that. That's why
Yeah.
hoarders are born. That's why people garbage, is they're afraid
Yeah.
of that.
Also, as another super good advice, if you want to pick up something from your collections, do so now, because
Mhm.
between Tuesday and September 4th, collections will be unavailable. So if there is a piece of exotic or emblem or whatever that you need to get, do so now before you are locked out for a week.
That's some good, super good advice, Nim. I appreciate that because that's something I would have forgotten about. Thankfully, I didn't delete my Zenith of your kind, and it's sitting nice and pretty and void in my my Titan's inventory. Never get rid of the raid stuff, man. You know this. You know this. You're like those people who
Do you- that or not.
Do you really need that raid grenade launcher?
No, you do not.
maybe someday grenade launchers outside of play of the game and the colony will be good.
Flash and
Maybe
Thunder, Truth Teller.
Trash. More trash.
Hey, 1v1 me right now. Let's go.
What, play of the game versus that? I mean, all right. Okay, let's do it. Let's stop the show right now and do nothing but grenade launches. I will use play of the game. You can use whatever garbage you want. We'll see how that goes. You thought I wasn't going to bite onto that fish? Nah, man. Don't throw bait if you don't want to get the bite.
Oh my god.
So we are super duper close to Forsaken now. We're literally
Yeah.
almost a week away from it. Clintus, I want to start this with you. You've seen, I'm assuming, some of the trailers for Forsaken. You've seen the things that are changing. Is there anything big that you're looking forward to that's coming?
like, are you talking about Forsaken in general, or just this week coming up, 2.0?
Both, if you want to answer them both.
I mean, I'm really excited for just new things to chase.
Right.
One of the reasons why I love about Destiny more than anything is, it's something I always say. It's like, do the thing to get the thing, right? Like, you want that thing, you gotta go do the thing to get the thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't get the thing, you go back and do the thing again, right? You just keep doing the thing until you get the thing. And like, I love games that have that, right? So you got Destiny, you got Warframe, you got Division, you got the games that I like to play the most are the ones that have reasons for me to play it.
Right.
People always ask me like, "Oh, why don't you play this game anymore? Why don't you play this game anymore? When's the last time you played that one? When are you gonna play this one?" Like, those games are fun, and I love playing games for fun. But these games are fun too. I also feel rewarded for my time.
Right.
So the fact that we're
Mhm.
getting like all new guns, all new armor, new destinations, new ways to grind for those things. Planet materials are going to start meaning more, and so I'm really excited about just for those specific things.
Mhm.
I'm also excited to see the sandbox change and the meta change in the PvP.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really excited to see what guns kind of pop up and emerge. With the sandbox changes coming with 2.0, guns are going to feel different. TTK is going up, or down. I guess whoever we want to picture it. It's going to be faster to kill somebody, right? So
Yeah.
things are going to be changing. People are going to be pulling guns out of the vault and dusting them off. And let me try this one. It feels good. So I'm really excited just to see that. And then the YouTube videos start popping up. And the streamer's going to be like, "Oh, did you try this gun? Check this gun out. When you pair it with this thing, it's super awesome." And that's the excitement of the community comes out. And so that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most. Secrets, things that we don't even know exist yet.
Yeah.
Between the Dreaming City and Reef and Tangled Shores. I mean, just the new destinations. The
Right.
things that I think about are like the Dreadnought, right? When the Dreadnought came, the secrets and like, what's this chest over here mean? It says you need this other thing. What's that other thing? Like, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's probably what I'm most excited about. Just the new things to chase and the new things to do to get those things.
Any so have you seen, I'm assuming you have, but have you seen the exotic trailer?
Yeah.
Which one of those are you looking forward to most using?
Okay, so I'll say this. I have to say one thing before I answer that question. The lack of fusion rifles is very alarming. I don't know if anybody's noticed.
Oh,
There's been no fusion rifles in any of the videos at all.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that I can spot. I've been looking for them, because I'm like, I don't see one.
Yeah.
But that trace rifle that looks like the skull of Aram Kara,
Yeah.
and it shoots the laser and it like
Oh, the
blows up.
1,000 voices.
Yeah, like you shoot
Yeah.
a line and then it goes like where the line goes. Like I want to draw a. Can I,
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Draw dicks.
I want to draw a dick on like Golgoroth's face, like whoever the next boss is, and I just want to draw, and it explodes. It explodes all over him, like that's or like, So that's what I'm most
Always
excited
comes
about.
back to drawing dicks with that weapon.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was
And
made for.
I will be bringing that into Gambit, and I will be drawing dicks on the glass between me and my opponents too.
No, see, I was actually wondering because I've heard two different things. I've heard that it's a trace rifle, but I've also heard it's a linear fusion.
Same, yeah.
Okay.
Like I've gotten different reportings from different news outlets. One says it's a trace rifle. It looks like a trace rifle. It's got the same model style as a trace rifle.
Yeah.
But other news outlets have reported that it's a linear fusion, and I'm just like, Hamrick, please, can we just get a confirmation?
If it's a linear fusion rifle, it would have to have a really short, like a slow fire.
Yep.
Because there's that picture that you see of the video we see. He's above them and he like draws a line.
He's tracing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a
I
trace.
think trace.
Because if linears are like snipers, it's like it's a really fast blast, and so, so that's the one I'm looking forward to. There's a bunch of cool looking ones though.
There's a lot of cool looking exotics.
Probably
Yeah.
confusing it.
Probably
just confusing it.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, because they could go either way with it, because like they could call it a linear fusion, but just have it charge up and then just release that beam. Because because if it was like a trace rifle that you can continuously use like a Cold Heart or a Prometheus lens, that might be semi busted.
And I hope that we see a void one. Like we're missing.
I think we do. Very early on in one of the trace rifle being used by a hunter, so I'm super excited to see that come through.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting back and thinking about whether or not how this thing would work as a linear fusion. It looks like a trace rifle to me. It does.
I agree.
But
I guess we'll find out in
couple
less
days.
10 days.
Yeah.
We'll find out pretty soon. Well, I want to echo something that Clintus said. I think one of the things I'm most excited about is that feeling of discovery like there was on the Dreadnought. If there's something like that. I love, obviously I'm super excited for balance changes and all that, because I'm someone who just is very obviously not a good team player, team shooter, Destiny 2 player. I made it very clear in my time playing it that I really prefer the Destiny 1 style. So I'm excited about that. But like outside of the obvious, the just looking for hidden secrets, finding random items, seeing crap pop up in the feed that you don't know what it means, standing in an area, all of a sudden you've got like a buff, like a scent of something, I miss stuff like that. That kind of stuff on the Dreadnought, like finding all the calcified fragments and stuff was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just like little side fun adventure.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that for sure. And I just want to verify I did log into Dim. I do have a Zenith of your kind on my hunter right now.
You're safe. Just make sure
and it's void, baby. It's void already.
And it's cool because we're getting technically 2 destinations. We're getting the Tangled Shore, and we're also getting the Dreaming City. So we have a lot of ground to cover.
Have they said how big the Tangled Shore is going to be compared to everything else that we have in game right now?
From what I've heard is that, comparison wise, not a whole lot, but what I've heard is that the Tangled Shore is segmented into different areas based for, every different Baron. So for example, like the Mindbender, which is the Baron that's all hived out, he's like in a place in the Tangled Shore where there's a fallen tomb ship, I believe, or one of like the ships from whatchamacallit, the Taken King, the mini dreadnought looking ones. Yeah. So I think there's going to be different areas like that. Judging by how many Barons we're going to have to hunt down, I'm sure it's going to be a sizable area for sure. At least I would hope.
Yeah, and we already know, we've already actually seen part of the map for the Dreaming City. in one of the Game Informer videos that they put out when they were doing like public events and whatnot in the Dreaming City landscape. It's pretty sizable. The Dreaming City world
Yeah.
space is pretty big, so I'm really excited to jump in there. And
You're talking 1.5 Mercuries here. Give me it on a scale.
maybe 1.7,
Oh,
about 1.7 Mercuries. There are a total of 2 lost sectors in this one that you can find.
Will I be able to hop on my Sparrow?
You can
Yeah,
you can
that's
hop
my-
on your Sparrow.
Thank
That's
you.
how I judge how big a zone is in Destiny.
How many
If I
Mercuries
get
is
on a
it worth?
Sparrow, then it's at least a real place.
At least
Yeah.
1.5 Mercuries, right?
How many Mercuries can you fit into that
There
zone?
we go. I want a video like that, like if people talk about how many fit in the sun and stuff. I want that with how many Mercury like spaces can you fit in other spots.
That's the
Oh, my
new
Lord.
unit of measurement for Destiny related content. How many Mercuries is that worth? Right there. How many Mercuries is this new public space worth?
So I don't know if you guys have talked about this in the past or not, but since we're talking about Mercury, I thought I'd ask: do you think that with Forsaken, the reason why you're required to have the previous 2 DLCs is because we're going to have to go to those 2 destinations for the story?
I think so.
Ooh, it's a
Possible.
possibility.
Very
They've
possible.
thrown us backwards onto old locations for like every story. Like
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
DLC stories that have come out have launched you back to like the European Dead Zone and stuff. I would not be surprised at all if they wanted to tie in the story of the previous DLCs, like
Yeah.
somehow culminating in this and requiring you to go
Like
back.
maybe like one of the barons goes to Mercury and you talk to
Right.
Osiris or
Mhm, exactly.
Sagira or
Yeah,
whatever. And it's
that's
like,
a good point.
you
Yeah, I
so
never
that's why
thought
you
about
had
that.
to have it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about it that way.
Which is something
I
I
mean,
think
I
that
like-
they've done. Previous expansions too, like Taken King.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So we also got confirmation that we're getting some exotic buffs as well. The second batch of the exotic armor changes coming up. Anything you guys are excited for?
No nerfs to Warlocks, so none of the rest of it matters. Warlocks, no nerfs for them. We just got buffs. We got,
We got
our
buffs.
empowering rift, precision damage, and PvP. Okay. Thank you.
Dude, that Skull of Dire car, like I normally run but I'm PvE, but I'm super excited to see that getting some more love
Yeah.
because that is such a cool helmet.
One thing I'm excited about is the marksman dodge change being so it's considered a reload, so it works with like kill
Yeah.
clip
Yeah.
and Rat King now. I love because if you think about it, if you could pair that with Wormhusk now, get a kill, then dodge, get some health back, activate kill clip at the same time, and then get
That's
damage
cool.
on your opponent. Yeah, I think
That's pretty neat, yeah.
nice. Nice, Sue.
Yeah, for me, I mean the 2 that the Warlock, the Skull of Direham Kara and the Transverse of Seth, both I don't use them as much as I used to. Like I used both of them pretty regularly when they first came out, even in D1.
Mhm.
The Scaradon Kara was just my PvP go-to for a long time as a void
Yeah.
blocker.
Yeah.
So I always love that when they make changes like this, it makes me want to put them back on and try them out again.
Yeah.
And see the effects and if they are noticeable. Because I think that's the biggest thing too. Like we'll see on paper, like this thing's getting a 30% buff here, and this thing's getting a shorter duration here, and but like if you don't feel it, if it doesn't feel like it helps or benefits you, and you feel a benefit with a different exotic, you're always going to go back to that other exotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know this says it's 30% buff, but man, it just feels good to have this other gloves on or something
Yeah.
like that.
And that's actually something that I mentioned this week in the Zur video, so it's kind of confirmation there. Zur is selling the Eye of Another World, which is technically supposed to give you like your grenade, melee, and rift abilities faster. But when you have the Nezarec Sin, bonus is a lot more noticeable than Eye of Another World. The only thing is it just locks you into void weapons, which it's not a big deal.
Right.
But yeah, it's an easy choice between the two.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
But no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. Anytime we get pronounced effects like these for lesser used exotics, it's always a good thing. We've seen that sort of thing with some of the rounds of exotic armor and weapon sandbox changes we've gotten in the last couple of months that have taken a lot of weapons that a lot of people didn't really use too much and have turned them into top tier contenders. Remember
Yeah.
the tractor cannon before its most recent change? Only
Oh,
person
yeah.
who used it was Nim. it was just Nim out of every
Yeah.
player of D2. It was
Nickel
just
gun.
Nim. Now
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's a top tier choice because of some of the changes that they've made. So I'm very happy to see those changes coming to the Skull of Dairam Kara. I thought it was interesting what they did with that exotic right off the bat, basically taking the old Obsidian Mind from Destiny 1 and kind of mixing that ability into the skull. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's becoming a bit more pronounced. Shall we talk about the nerf coming to the to the tiny worm husk crown? As Mega gets a
boy.
1,000-yard stare. What's
And
what-
hunters
doesn't matter.
everywhere cried in unison.
Ooh,
It's no longer. It doesn't start regeneration. It just gives you a chunk of health.
just gives
Yeah.
you a
Which
chunk of health now.
seems. I play hunter. It seems much more fair. I'm not upset about it. It's a much more balanced armor piece than what it currently is.
No more trading shield pops with people and then, rolling around a corner and then walking back half a second
Yeah.
later with full health while they're dead.
Yeah.
No, we knew it was coming. There's no surprise
Yes, and I think its effectiveness in general would have already kind of gone down with time to kill increases because it's
Yeah.
not as easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna die. Let me just whoop over here if
Just
somebody
Yeah.
is faster, But I think it's definitely a good decision. It was a little much as somebody who exclusively uses it because I want to win when I play. It's a little much.
Well, and I'm a big believer that Bungie uses data to make decisions like this.
Yeah.
In conversations with guys like Noosk and Josh, and I told this to John Wisniewski when I met him. I was like, I always had this visual of you, you walk in the morning, you walk into the office, you coffee, you pull off old school printer, sheet off
I
the
get what
printer,
you're saying.
and you're
Yeah.
jigging your coffee, and you look, let's see this Crucible stats last night, bro.
That's
I
how
never
it
met the guy
starts.
before at the point, but I was like, I totally had this because I know he's in a band, he's a rock star, I just visualize him drinking a cup of coffee. And he's like, yeah, man, let's see the goal. Let's see what happened last night. It's kind of this is good. I just had that visual of him doing that because I know he's a big data guy, and
Yeah.
he will look at the numbers and go, when there's something pops up all of a sudden, whoa, anyone who uses this thing has got a 2.0 win ratio, and they're going ham with 50 plus kills. But if they take it off, it drops. There's something with this armor piece. Let's expand our search. Who else is seeing success with it. And I really believe that the team does that when they make decisions. And so, their new approach to not nerfing things, the fact that this is their first nerf, maybe in all of D2, realistically on an exotic like this, that there was some data that pointed out that this is a little overpowered. It's more than just the
Yeah.
community going
Right.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, data alone. I mean, you go into a comp match, and more likely than not, you're going to land with either 3 or 4 hunters, all running Arc Blade or Arc Strider
Yeah.
with the Wormhusk crown. I mean, the numbers
My
are
man.
there.
All right.
Well, that's the thing too, right? So that's another thing. They want people to have choices. And
Yeah.
when you only have one choice because it is far superior than any other exotic, then
Yeah.
it breaks the system, right? It
Yeah,
breaks
exactly.
because it's and I've heard this on numerous other streamers, podcasts, videos. It doesn't matter. It's this exotic's great, but it's not Wormhusk. You
Yeah.
gotta go
Right. Yep.
Wormhusk. You can't use anything else because it's that good. By them, I like the word is true. It's balancing it, right? Bringing it down
Right.
to level playing field,
Yeah.
right? We're talking about health. We're talking about regeneration. And in a game like Destiny, health and regeneration is crucial when it comes to PvP because if you can get back in that fight that much sooner, you have the upper hand, right? Especially when you
Right.
know you're getting your health back and your opponent doesn't.
That's right.
Mhm.
You've got that upper hand.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
I
how
think-
good the other exotics are. If this exotics would get you back in the game faster, it's a better exotic.
Yes, I think what it is it's like what you said. It's about choice. Nerfing something a negative connotation is when you make it worthless. This isn't making the Wormhusk worthless. It's just making it and making it. It's still good. It's just maybe something else.
It's
could
changing how it works.
strategy as well now. Yeah.
Now you
Yeah,
have
it's-
options.
Exactly.
Yes.
You're giving the hunter tool set a little bit more viability, whether you want to run either the Shinobu's Vow or the
Mhm.
oh my god, I'm blanking on
Dragon
the triple.
Shadow.
Yeah,
For
Dragon
little
Shadow and
kids.
the Trip
You
Mine.
catch me with the Frosties on.
Yeah,
Here's what
like
you do.
Frosties.
You get your Frosties.
Yeah.
You get your Night Stalker. You get the 3 class ability. Well, it's not gonna be a thing anymore, really, right? But you get it so your dodge comes back as quickly as possible. You can get your dodge every 5 seconds. You're invisible for like 4, so you're only
Yeah.
visible for a second at a time. That's fun right there.
Like
All right, that's
Frosties
fun.
are a fantastic exotic that have gotten overshadowed by the Wormhusk. Even the Gemini Jesters were really fun to use, even though they look silly as hell. But you know,
They definitely do.
yeah, like I use the Gemini Jesters for a good while just because it's like it gives you just that a little tactical advantage for a couple of seconds by just removing that radar for like a brief period of time. But yeah, it's just a matter of like giving options and having other stuff be viable as well.
Yeah. I'm actually excited to dust off the Shinobu's Vow. What with the skip grenade? Like here in the balances, it says increase impact damage for each skip drone, impact for a higher total potential damage.
Oh my god, it's gonna be D1 again.
Maybe not that far. This is maybe some skip grenades don't tickle anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't. You remember those days where it's like you would see a hunter with Shinobu's Vow in like Trials of Osiris, and you know you were just gonna end up running for like 5 miles in that match.
Yeah, you got to break the tracking on those things.
Yeah, those things were gnarly, dude. But obviously, the biggest change that everybody is excited here for is swords taking shaders. Obviously,
clearly,
only thing that matters.
It honestly really does bother me that they don't take them. So.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like that, it's gonna be an option now.
My weeb's gonna look so beautiful.
No, I use a sword on my Voidwalker. That's my power of choice because blink, like.
Oh
I will blink up over you, and then I will cut your head off, like in one motion. Like
Eternity's Edge or Double-Edged Dancer, which, or what? Use a different sword.
You know what? I don't even know the name of it off the top of my head. Give me a second. I was using the Crucible one for the longest time. Now I use the Hagakure.
Okay.
Oh, the Hagakure. Yeah.
Oh, the Hagakure.
Big thick sword.
So the ones I used were the ones that like guaranteed a speed bonus with a kill.
Okay.
So the more kills you get, the faster you go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've gotten 4 kills in just a melee fury.
Right.
And then when I remembered that the right click is the upper power uppercut, I can one swipe supers. I took out like a hammer and a stormcaller like back to back. Just
that's beautiful.
I love it. I mean,
they're
so
fun.
I can see how many kills I have with it. 170 kills with it. Like, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
See, I loved the Warlock exclusive one, the Eternity's Edge, and then my buddy showed me the Double-Edged Dancer because those have like one of the biggest range on a sword. So when you like do the uppercut with them, like I remember distinctly, like I had a dude right in front of me, and I had a dude directly, like I saw it 3 to 4 feet next to him. Somehow, because of the range of my sword, I got the dude in front of me and nailed the dude that was like, oh, what? This was so gnarly, dude. But yeah, swords are a lot of fun. This change particularly that's coming up affects me, and this is going to be interesting. So for those of you guys that are regulars over on the YouTube side of things, you know that I do the Zer videos on Friday. Yeah, well now Bungie has changed Zer, even though his will is not his own, that he will no longer display a vendor icon on the destination map, will no longer be tied to flashpoints as well. So now I'm going to have to hunt this squiggly, squirmy little bastard as soon as he pops up on Fridays.
Yeah, good luck with that, Nim.
Thank you so much for that. It used to be a quick 5-minute, 6-minute recording. Bam, done.
Now you got to hunt.
Not anymore. Now I got to hunt.
Enjoy the the recurring Friday night hunt with the hounds there. Nobody got time for that.
Although to be honest with you, I do like that change. Being serious, I think change. That's something that I wanted to see since Destiny 1, so I'm glad that that's a thing.
Interesting to
Good
see.
luck,
moving
man.
forward.
I look forward
Yeah.
to just Googling where to find him. And stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. Good luck
By the
to
time
you.
I wake up,
Yeah.
everyone's already found it.
Somebody will have figured it out. That makes
Yeah.
it easy for
Charlemagne.
Yeah.
me.
Well, it'll be interesting too, and I don't think because to my knowledge, at least, I haven't seen the 2 resets per week.
Mhm.
Like I know, like I don't know if they've actually officially talked about what the 2 resets are going to be. I think everyone's mind is that everything resets twice a week, but in my mind, it's going to be 2 different rotations, right? So everything
Right.
is still on a weekly rotation, but like these, I don't know, 5 items reset on Tuesday, and these 5 items reset on Thursday, right, or Friday, or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like that's the rotation that things are going to be in.
They're trying to time gate those Quest 64 kids so that they can't blast through it in 4
Yep.
hours.
Got to keep you from beating it in 4 hours. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
That makes a lot more sense to me. I think that's probably going to be the way things roll out, rather than having 2 weird different systems moving at the same time. That actually kind of lines up with some of the other stuff that they're doing right now, like with Reset, with the Whisper of the Worm quest. It activates on weekends and stuff like that's probably going to be the way they move. Should be.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I think it's time for the question and answer section of the show. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's get to it.
All right, let's do it. As usual, we'll start things off with a question for our guest, and I implore chat. Go ahead, start posting out your questions now. We'll answer them for you. Direct stuff towards Clintus, so we don't have to talk. 'Cause he's good at handling things. He's a great host. He's doing fantastic here. But I did have a question for you, Clintus. And it was, so obviously you've had a history with gaming. You came in with Destiny. Didn't like it at first, like many other people. But you've had a long history with it from D1 now into D2. Do you have a favorite Destiny memory?
Ooh. There isn't one for me. Because I have so many. Like honestly, there's like right now I'm like it's like a Rolodex, right? I'm flipping through the cards, going which one is it? But like the day 1 launches, waking up at like 2 in the morning or whatever, because I don't know, Reset was at like 2 in the morning or something like that.
Back in the day,
like,
yeah.
And so like Taken King and Rise of Iron launch days were probably the 2, because my friends got up late or got up early with me, and I remember my wife's like, why are you getting up at 2 in the morning again, like to play a video game? Like, yeah, it's launch time, right? Like, and those are my 2 biggest streams too. I was streaming on YouTube at the time, and if you guys remember Rise of Iron, people couldn't get in, right? There was this queue time, and I got in. I was one of the first to get in, and because of that, people were like frantically looking for videos and stuff like that on YouTube, and like just the numbers soared, and like all the eyeballs were on me, and it was my most exciting stream. So that's probably, I'd say, is my most memorable Destiny moment, because that was it, right? Like having my chat room just exploded, and seeing that number there and feeling like, oh, this is my time, right? Like I'm sticking my stake in the ground as a Destiny content creator now. That was it for me. But just the moments of the first time doing the first storylines. And I want to say that Rise of Iron probably has a more part of my heart because of that. I'd already been doing content creation for a year prior to that, so that was like, Taken King was a big moment of content creation. So Rise of Iron meant more to me because it was like, oh, it's a new story, and it's a new iteration of Destiny, and I felt more established back then. So that's probably it. But I mean, like doing the raids for the first time with friends, and the switch to PC has been awesome. Like I really like playing on PC. So I got a lot of stuff like that just pops off at me. Like, but yeah, I guess the Rise of Iron stream was probably my most memorable.
That was a crazy night. I do remember the queue to get in, and I remember sitting back and chatting with a buddy of mine, former PD contributor Holtzman. He was streaming, and like I think he and Dado were like streaming just the start screen trying to get in. I'm sitting there talking to him like, "Hey man, you in yet?" No. All right, I'll check back in 5 minutes. It's just, that was a wild night. It was a wild night. So I can definitely I get you on that one. Getting in that first rush, going through the missions, getting to Fellwinter Peak. That was a good night for Destiny. Definitely a good night.
Dude, I remember sleeping in that day during the day just so I can be awake because that's when reset happened at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning for me.
Right.
And nope, tape here. Tapey for everybody.
It's tapered everywhere.
Yep. Let's see. We got Arbiter Priest has a really good question. Destiny games aside, what game has your favorite soundtrack? And for him, for Arbiter, he loves Fallout New Vegas, which is a really good one.
Man, that's tough.
I will off the top of my head, Arbiter Priest for me, Bloodborne, hands down. Bloodborne's score is one of the best like pieces of music that my ears have ever like consumed.
Right on.
Like if you have ever played through like the entire game and through like the old Hunters DLC, the Ludwig soundtrack, holy shit, that sends chills down my spine. So good. What about you guys?
I always
the
claim,
Bioshock
Chrono Trigger. No, I have to
You're
claim
not.
Chrono Trigger. I have to claim.
All right.
I
Okay.
always have to claim that. Yeah, sorry. I can't answer any modern games because I am a content whore, and since the ability to mute in-game sound while watching anything else, that is how I play every video game. I never listen to in-game music at all. I'm a bad person. So sorry, video game composers. I haven't heard anything you've written in like 8 years.
No.
Sorry about it. Like it's just not for me. Yeah.
So for me, my favorite composer, a soundtrack, musician, I don't know composer, I guess is the right way to word it, is Hans Zimmer. I love Hans Zimmer. He has done some of the most iconic soundtracks, most epic. Like everything he makes is epic, right? The Pirates of the Caribbean. He's done Backdraft, Blade Runner, Batman versus Superman, the Dark Knight series. Like there's just so many iconic songs. So he did the soundtrack to Modern Warfare 2.
My man.
So for me, if we're gonna talk about soundtracks, like to me, that's the first that pops up, right? Because it's just this epic. And I'm sure he's done other stuff, like other soundtracks, other game soundtracks that I may not know about. But that's just the one that sticks to me right now because it feels like a movie when you're listening to it. You don't even realize it's a video game. It's just so epic. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, you wouldn't think of a Call of Duty series when you're thinking about like great video game music, but Modern Warfare 2, you're absolutely right. Hans Zimmer had some fantastic tracks in there. In particular, one of my favorites was the Rangers theme, the Army Rangers theme in there, which you get to hear a couple times during the story, and then whenever you're playing as an Army Ranger in PvP and you win a match. That's probably one of my favorite bits of gaming music ever produced. It's just this really epic, kind of inspiring kind of song, and I'm right there with you, man. Great choice. M-dubs too.
Oh man. So I was saying earlier the BioShock Infinite soundtrack is pretty amazing. Just the reimagining of all those songs, like the barbershop quartet version of, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys is perfect. Is perfect as you're entering in and just sets the tone really well. Man, I love that. I like the No Man's Sky soundtrack quite a bit.
That was trippy.
There's a lot of great video game music out there, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is a question that literally kills the TBL. This kills me.
This is a Sophie's choice to you. You can't make.
I can't make it. I can't make. There's too many generations I've been through, too many different games that I've played where the music is just incredible. Whether it's retro stuff like what you're probably thinking of, Mega, or new age stuff.
Top 3 TBL.
I can't even give you that. There's way too much out there. So I'll just throw one of my favorite gaming soundtracks. Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion. I think
that's a good one.
Jeremy Soule's work in that is incredible. Incredible soundtrack. That's one of the many I could throw up here. Great question. Fantastic question.
Our mod extraordinaire, Quasi Kyle. If you could bring one exotic or legendary weapon D1 to D2, which would it be? The gun would be balanced with D2 meta.
what D1 exotic?
Mm-hmm. Or
Legendary
legendary.
or exotic, he said. So
Yeah.
that's what gets me is legendaries.
Take a look at the vault.
Plan C.
Plan C would be
Ooh,
great.
Plan C in the energy slot. Since I'm assuming Frisian Rifles is going back to the energy slot. We haven't seen any. They don't
Yeah.
exist in Forsaken.
Yeah.
Apparently
They hide them.
But yeah,
They're-
Plan C. I'm hoping that now that they're going back to the kinetic and energy slot, fusion rifle is gonna be energy slot. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that since they're going back to that slot, we get Plan C back. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
That's
That's a good one.
it's funny because the Plan C ability is in D2. It's called like backup plan, and I think it's on linear fusions. That makes me mad.
It's on
because-
regular fusion rifle still.
Is
It's
it on
regular
regular
ones.
fusions too?
Yep.
So
Okay, cool.
why
It's
isn't
not-
Rebuke has it?
Why
Yeah,
isn't
it's
Rebuke
not
does?
quite
Okay.
the same, but it's close. It's a close.
Yeah.
Both of my answers are I think they would get people to hate me. Because No
Do it.
Land Beyond is like my number one answer.
Mhm.
No Land Beyond. Like
Mhm.
when it sucked, I loved it. When it was awesome, I loved it. And now I can believe that it could. Before I was always like, there's no way it would ever be in the game because
Right.
it would be insanely broken in the first year's meta. Nobody would ever use anything else. But I think that is up there. And I really just want the Queen Breaker's bow to be in there because like
Mhm.
linear fusions are a thing. Can I just have the
Yeah.
iconic one, the original?
Yeah.
It should be there. It just bothers me.
Quillam's Terminus.
Ooh.
Great LMG. That's a great LMG.
Oh man, LMGs, any LMG.
Please, can I just have one?
Yeah.
I mean, sweet business is nice, but it's not really what I'm looking for here. Hand me my BTRD, please.
Nope.
Just bring them all forward. Honestly, just give me them all.
Yeah.
Just even if they suck, make them so they don't even kill. So
They
like,
actually
equip.
they
You
give
know, I want to
health.
run around the tower with my truth on my back. Like, I just want to be able to make truth.
It's
puns
an ornament.
again.
It's
Yeah,
back bling.
like, that's what I want. Give me back blings in Destiny.
It's got a
with
big
my old
Nerf
exotics.
Gyaller horn on your back. Doesn't actually fire anything. It's just there for show.
I would love-
You're
I got one
there
of
was-
those.
You can.
I
I
want it.
guarantee you, if they put a Gallahorn that was purely cosmetic into the game and made it something you grind for, that would be the most played activity in
Yep.
Destiny. When I guarantee you,
You go to shoot it,
Like,
and just confetti shoots out.
yeah, I would love that. That'd be amazing.
It shoots out all those coupons that you just collected.
That's what they were for. That we figured. We figured out the ramen quest, everybody. That's what it's for. It's fuel for your D2 Gyaller horn.
Y'all know
Make
what
some
exotic I
t-shirts.
want back. I shouldn't have.
Necrochasm, right?
Metroasm, I believe. Yeah, it's called.
Smelly
That's the
taken
one.
guns.
My weapon. I miss it dearly, as you can tell. Was using it the other day. I need it. All right, next question. What do you think will be your favorite thing about the upcoming meta?
Ooh.
Coming from JD.
I mean, without
DiMaggio?
really knowing what is the meta yet. I mean, it's kind of hard. I'm just excited to see new weapons emerge.
Right.
Yeah.
Even guns we have now that we're like, this isn't very good. This gun over here is better. Maybe something's going to change, and all of a sudden it does work better, and you're like, oh, this actually works. Like, I like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the random rolls, we assume we're going to see new perks with the mod
Mhm.
slots. You're going to be able to customize weapons now, and like this gun's already good, but now I can add this perk to it, and it's like amazing, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So I think the sandbox is like it's going to personify its name, that it's going to be ever changing, and like I don't think the meta's not going to form for a while
Right.
because we're gonna
Right.
we have to wait and see wait for guns to drop with certain roles
With proper
then-
rolls.
and people like, okay, well, this has this role. What happens if I add this mod? Oh wait,
Yeah.
how we have had this mod, and like, before we really see trends and like what's good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's gonna be looking for YouTube and Twitch streamers to like, oh my god, this is
Mhm.
top tier, this is amazing, and everyone's gonna be chasing that until something else pops up, and but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I can tell you one thing that I'm looking for. One-hit shoulder charges are coming back.
That was gonna be my answer. You bastard.
Too slow, buddy.
About
Damn it.
time.
That's gonna make it so I can maybe enjoy a game of Supremacy again. I want that so badly.
Oh man. School Wolf 1. This is actually a Clintus question. And I think we kind of went into it earlier in the podcast, but he asks, what made you go into YouTube as a full-time job? And do your kids get recognized at school? And yeah, you did mention that earlier on.
Yeah. So I mean, again, when I started YouTube, there was no ad revenue, there was no money. Like I created my channel in 2006, started kind of really using it and vlogging in 2007. And then I think ad revenue came around in 2008, if I remember correctly.
2008, I want to say.
Yeah, and it was very hard to get in. Like you had to have established numbers and subs, and you got partnered and unlocked all these features. And even then, you'd have to. I mean, like today, you'd have millions of views to make thousands of dollars, right?
Yep.
And depending on the type of content you make, it's even less than that. And so I didn't think it was going to be a feasible thing until I started seeing some friends like, oh wow, they're doing this full time. Like, and then apps like websites like Social Blade came out where you could actually look up their numbers and kind of get a ballpark figure on what they're making. And you'd look at your numbers and compare, and you're like, oh, well, I'm making about this much, which means their numbers, they're making about this much. And you're like, that's real money. Like you could actually do this. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago when my YouTube checks started coming in as big as my work checks, and I was like, so then I started like paying off debt and saving money, and then we had a few months of bills worth in the bank, and I was like, this is a real thing. I think I can pursue this and push it further if I had more time. And so that's why I quit my jobs, because I felt confident.
We get it. Clintus is rich. We get it. So flush with cash.
No, it's funny though. There is a persona, or like people think that they think that if you're a YouTuber, you are.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm like, do you watch my videos? Do you see the car my wife drives? Like, there are no Lambos here. Okay.
Yeah. a lot of content creators are just people that would rather do moderately well at something they really love. You're not necessarily rich. You're making a living.
You don't pay a lot, Chad.
That's the thing. I tell people all the time, like, of course, there's the D-bags that come in and like, get a real job. It's like, what, you mean that job your dad has and hates, going to work every day?
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. I'll keep my fantasy job, my made up job.
The 8 hours of work I did to make this video, real job.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing is like I'm very fortunate. Right place, right time. Got in early. Again, been doing this for a decade, so this isn't like yesterday happened, right? Like, and most content creators that you hear of, like, okay, let's just say, like, guys like Ninja, he didn't start streaming like yesterday. Like, he's been streaming for years. He was a pro gamer for years. Like, he worked his butt off, and the things just lined up with all the work that he did, that he got a moment to show off what kind of gamer and streamer he was, and that's what catapulted him, right? Like, you get that one shot, that opportunity, and it's like it's your spotlight, and if your time to shine, and if you don't shine, then the opportunity passes by. Like, and I tell people all the time, I get asked 100 times a day, like, advice for new YouTubers, advice for new streamers, and it's like, I'll give them little tidbits, a little bit of advice here and there, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's not for everyone. Like, you think anybody can pick up a basketball, right? I use this analogy all the time. Anybody can pick up a basketball and dribble a ball. Anybody can shoot a basket and eventually make it, right? But only like the 1% of the 1% make it to the NBA and make a career out of it, right? Another small select few make a career around basketball, whether it's in the news or reporting or photography or medicine, right? Being a full-time content creator is very similar to that now, because it's in such demand and everybody wants to do it, right? Because it's just like a movie star or pro athlete, they look up to content creators as celebrities, and as so anybody can hit the record button and make a video. Anybody can turn on the camera and play a video game live on Twitch, but only a select few have all the right ingredients to do something with it. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that, and they get discouraged.
Yeah.
They feel like they're doing something wrong, and it's like, you just didn't give enough time. You need to like, it might take 2 or 3 years, and you're expecting 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, and that's not realistic in this day and age. So it wasn't really necessarily a thing where I was like, I'm going to be a full-time content thing. It just kind of slowly turned into that over time.
Yeah, that's true.
Clintus is much more articulate than any of us.
Yeah.
You can see why he's been doing this for 7-8 years now. He's really got a lot.
why he's successful at it. He's
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
right on all the points there. You know, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of investment before you really start to see a payoff. Very, very, very few people are able to start doing content creation, whether it's streaming or vlogs or anything on one of these social media websites, and then immediately take off and become an overnight sensation. And the ones that do take off and become overnight sensations oftentimes disappear just as quickly. And it's absolutely an investment. If it's something you enjoy doing, I tell everybody, if it's something you truly enjoy doing, if you truly enjoy making content, playing games, talking about games and that kind of stuff, absolutely start a channel, do that stuff. But realize that it is a big investment. It's going to take a lot of time to master your craft and move forward with it. But I'd be lying if I didn't say it wasn't fun. Because good Lord, is it fun. Well, all right. I think that's a good, positive place to bring this show to a close with, unless you guys want to say something else.
No, I'm good, man.
Now, you good?
I'd like to say
good.
thanks for having me on this podcast for a while. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of good memories on the Planet Destiny podcast for old Mega Magwitch. Whether it was that first show where literally the first time I ever spoke to TVL, Story, Bones, or Fallout was when we hit live on that podcast.
Right. We didn't have a pre-show like
No,
meet and greet.
Just boom, we're in, we're off. I've made tons of my best friends in gaming, in life on there. I mean, Fallout is obviously like, he's the first person I told I was having a baby. So this podcast has been very special to me. But unfortunately, I just don't have the time to dedicate to it, to family life, to another job that I'm working on getting right now, and content creation on my own. It's too much. I'm going to miss it. I'll be back, I'm sure, on random episodes here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for everything. If you enjoyed anything I added to this podcast, which was very little, then I appreciate that.
I'm fairly certain like a good 85% of our memes all came from you anyway. I mean, I like it.
I like it.
I like it.
We'll miss the
Okay.
salt.
There it is.
And,
Yeah, it's
and
been-
the early roasts.
It's been great having you on here, Mega. And I mean, go follow him, Mega Magwitch on Twitch.
Yeah.
Streams funny things. And sometimes his weird personas come out. And it's always entertaining. That's something to say. Watching
take
a
that.
big husky man as a big husky woman streaming Pony Island, pretty interesting experience.
Oh my god.
Television is
amazing.
dead, folks.
And Mega Magwitch killed it.
That was amazing.
It was great.
But the real question is, are we going to Candy Mountain, Charlie?
Candy Mountain, Charlie.
You're gonna take your intestines, Charlie. Don't do it, man.
Love those.
That's an old reference.
Oh man.
All right.
Right
Take
on.
us out, TBL.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for
Segue.
tuning in to episode 167 of the Planet Destiny podcast. This has probably been one of my favorite episodes, and it is thanks in no small part to our guest, Clintus Games. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, it was great to have you here, dude. Fantastic show. And
Yeah, dude.
before we go, we always like to shill for our guests and give them a chance to put out all their social media links, where they're going. If they've got anything special coming up, take this opportunity to alert the chat of what's going on. So where can they find you, Mr. Clintus?
So I'm pretty much Clintus on everything: Twitter, Twitch. My main YouTube channel, Clintus Games, is my gaming channel on YouTube. I stream Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Pacific, and daily vlogs on my YouTube channel by noon Pacific. And yeah, Twitter, I tweet a lot, so that's probably the best way to find me.
Listen, guys. All right, this is my last episode, so I got nothing to lose. We've had a lot of guests on this podcast, and I'll be honest, all of them are just dog shit compared to Clintus. So make sure you follow Clintus. All right, they can't fire me because I quit. So I'm speaking the truth. Follow Clintus.
Oh my god.
That's a sound endorsement right there.
There you
Not
go.
dog shit.
That's it.
Go follow Clintus. He's not shit.
That's right. He's not dog shit. There you go. And also, Mr. Magwitch. Excellent way to end things out there. Follow him at Mega Magwitch. He streams all the time.
You can
Oh,
find me
man.
all the time, always.
Oh, he
Always.
just half baked us.
He died as he lived,
Oh, my
doing
God.
that. Yo, Mr. Danfinity, where can they find you? What you got going on?
You can find me on Twitter at Danfinity, but the I's are L's. You can find me on twitch.tv/Danfinity, but the I's are actually I's. Just about every day.
Confusing
And
branding.
believe me, I know. You can find my podcast SideQuest Sunday every Sunday, usually early. Next week we have a special guest, the Black Link, with special guest co-host Nim Plays. So that's all for me. Nim,
You didn't
what
get
about you?
invited, Meg.
You can find me
I've
pretty
been on
much.
before. It's fine. I didn't even like it. It was dog shit. Clintus is the best. The Infinity sucks.
That's right, Clintus. Only Clintus.
I'm gonna miss you, Mega. You can find me. Nem
Still
plays.
around.
Oh man.
And of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. Got the usual things going on this week. Live streams and all that good stuff. Gonna be testing out some things in the new 2.0 environment in Destiny 2. But alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It has been a fantastic show. That's it for episode 167 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We'll catch you all next week.